Hello, and welcome to the Tavern Chat Podcast, episode 90. I am your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern Block. Today is a Tuesday, so we're going to dip into Kickstarters and Indiegogos and all that fun stuff. But before we do, yesterday I was discussing, and we were all participating in some extent, but we were talking about Gail Gygax's, I guess I'll call it a rant on Facebook. And she made a reference to her 30-year-old company. And I did not know what company that was. It was pointed out to me that company in question is TriG. TriG, I guess that's Gary and Gail Gygax, I'm assuming that's what it stands for, is the company that published Cyborg Commando. I believe that was Gary's first release after leaving TSR in the mid-'80s. Yeah. A horrible fucking game. But, alright, so that is the 30-year company of hers, because that's my understanding that when it was incorporated as an LLC, it was put in Gail's name. So it is Gail's company. She is right. I stand corrected. So it doesn't make it any better at that rant. And as I posted a correction on the blog site yesterday, I was reached out to by Margaret Weiss's agent to let my readers know that at no time had Margaret Weiss sued Gail, like Gail stated. At no point was Margaret Weiss ever on a board, as Gail stated, and therefore at no point was Margaret Weiss ever trying to steal the IP that Gail has control over. All right. Now that those updates are out of the way, let's start digging into these crowdfunding Kickstarters. And actually, technically, the first one's an Indiegogo. The City That Dripped Blood, a fantasy adventure. Your party is invited to explore a ruined city ruled by vampiric lords and cannibalistic cults. Brought to you by Frog God Games. Now, this is an adventure written by Steve Winter. It's going to be one of 4. It is going to be published for Swords and Wizardry and 5th edition. Now, here's the deal. You can get the PDF for $6. You can get the soft cover plus PDF for $13 plus shipping. It's already funded. The funding was low. $800. It's at nearly $3,400. Most importantly, it has 202 backers. Over 200 backers. So, this is a Frog God experiment to see if they can do some lower cost adventures for their fans. And I think this can be considered a success. 9 days left in funding, so if you have a chance to get on it, I'd advise you do so. I don't believe there's going to be any print overrun, so whatever is produced for the the Indiegogo is what you got. Next up today, we have our first Kickstarter, The Year of Cthulhu, a 2019 calendar. Brought to you by New Comic Games. This is a calendar for 2019. It's got some amazing, honest to God, amazing Call of Cthulhu art. It is funded. It will be happening. New Comic Games has done prior Call of Cthulhu Kickstarters, and that's where a lot of this, or all this art is coming from. I mean, these are beautiful paintings. I really can't say anything beyond that. They've got, the stretch goals just are including important dates from various Cthulhu releases. So a lot of them are unlocked. I just can't say enough about it because it's a damn cool calendar, and it's $12 shipped. I mean, my God, affordable buy-in, includes shipping. You really, it's hard to go wrong. So, next up, Dungeon Delve number 2, Dungeons of the Dread Wyrm. Now, while the boilerplate up on top of this Kickstarter says it's a fantasy role-playing module for first or second edition AD&D, BECME, D&D, Osric, DC, Pathfinder, Lord, Labyrinth Lord, Swords of Misery, or other OSR, very exhausting, but it is specifically designed for the first edition of the original fantasy role-playing game. So basically, it is written for 1E Osric. It's easy enough to convert to the others, but I don't, except for getting yourself well placed in the, I guess, the Kickstarter search engine, I don't see a need for all the other games to be listed there. And converting it to DCC, yeah, it's going to be a bit more. Pathfinder, that's going to be a bit more. Didn't even mention 5e. I'm surprised. Because Pathfinder certainly is not OSR. This dungeon is a 32-page dungeon. The artwork looks awesome. The cover looks fairly reminiscent of classic D&D releases from the time. But the detachable cover is certainly awesome. Artwork by McDevitt, Ryan Jack Alred, Chet Minton, Matthew Ray, Russ Nicholson. You might remember Russ from the Fiend Folio. Yeah, the art looks really nice, really brings you back to that old school feel. We're looking at, on this one, $10 for the PDF, $20 for the PDF and the print, with the first 200 of the print being signed, stamped, and numbered. Delivery on this one is a quick turnaround. We're looking at September 2018. $1,000 goal. It's almost to $8,000. Yes, it's funded. Moving on. Brindlemarsh, a 1E/5E adventure for my bad. Sorry, Lloyd. Adventure of Dragons and Dungeons. Brindlemarsh is the second in the Brindle series of Osric and 5th edition adventures from Fail Squad Games. Let me just say this. Lloyd is an amazing artist. He's an excellent writer. He puts together some amazing releases via Kickstarter. I expect this to be no less. We are looking $6 at the PDF. PDF plus print, $15. Just a print copy, $10. My personal feeling is that that's $5 surcharge for the PDF is a bit much. I would have gone with $2, but I'm not the publisher. And Lloyd, it's not a criticism. It's just an observation. But no, what Lloyd has here looks really great, and he has some interesting add-ons that you can throw into the pot. Dwarf homestones made of real cave onyx or actual cockatrice. You decide. So those are always options that you can add on to or back at a higher level to get. It's crafty. I like it. Moving on. Dungeons of Doom 5, Law versus Chaos, and from Star Hat Miniatures. Starhat Miniatures is Darcy Perry. He's the one that did the official 10 Cars mini. I love it. It's awesome. Darcy has some great sculpts. He really releases some amazing minis in his releases. Can't say enough about that. Really can't. And you know what? Excuse me. Darcy and I have discussed this. We are looking at next Monday night, which would be, I guess, the 20th, around 8:30 New York time. I'm going to interview Darcy for this podcast, but we're going to do it on Discord. We're going to do it in an open but locked channel. What I mean by that is it's going to be open for anybody to come in and listen, but they will not be able to talk. But there will be a text chat channel where you could ask questions. It's going to be a nice little experiment. If it works well, that's how I'll try to handle a lot of interviews going forward. So that is the game plan. This is funded, well funded, nearly it's over $4,100. Yes, 16 days to go. And then, last but not least, or maybe it is least, I can't say. We have the Birthday Gemstone Dice, layered polyhedral dice for board games and RPG campaigns. Now, let me start with a little vetting of this. It's the creator's first project. So take that as you will. It's dice. The dice, in my opinion, now it's Canadian dollars, so we're going to convert this to American. These dice are $15 a set. Now, when it says gem dice, a gemstone dice, you think, oh, great. I'm going to get genuine gemstone. No, you're not. The dice are a mixture of transparent and opaque materials to give the beautiful effect of a real stone. I have a manufacturer already lined up, but I was hoping to get you your dice as soon as possible. The as soon as possible is next July. Okay? So maybe that's building in some padding so people aren't going, where's my dice after 6 months? But that seems like a long turnaround for something that is just going to have a manufacturer spit out these dice. She has somebody to make them. That's great. Now, a lot of these dice actually look very attractive. Some of them, and I'm saying this from the sample pictures, so I guess she has, oh no, I was about to say I guess she has samples completed, but I'm not sure if it actually is samples completed. Nah, I guess it can't be. Looking at these photos and the way the dice were in the exact same position, these are photoshopped effects to show you what they're going to look like, which is fine, I guess, to an extent, but I don't know. $20 for a set of dice from an unproven creator makes me feel a little iffy. So, do your own vetting. Maybe message the creator if you're interested and get some more details. I'm just putting it out there because I do love dice. But these might not be the dice. Well, there you go, folks. We covered, 6 projects, a little update, a little bit of everything. Remember, if you like the podcast, you can support the podcast on Anchor. If you like everything I do, or most of what I do, whether it's on the podcast, the blog, Discord, a little Facebook community, you can back the Patreon as little as $1.50. Really, I appreciate it all. It all adds up. It all helps keep getting pressured to find a real job in my sweet retirement. I prefer doing what it is that I do for you all. As simple as that. I have fun. I hope you enjoy it. The numbers I'm seeing, over 565 downloads yesterday. The podcast is averaging over 202 downloads a day. I think we're doing something right with the podcast, and I could make it better. All right, folks. On that note, I should probably bid thee adieu. Thank you for listening. Stay safe. God bless. Roll your dice well. And I will check in with you tomorrow. Tomorrow may be an Ennies episode if I can squeeze it in. If no other news lands in my lap that has to be addressed. All right. Later.